Something shifted in the field 3 days ago, and your body registered it before your mind had any language for what had changed. You have been feeling it as a low-grade restlessness that has no obvious cause. A quality of aliveness in the air that is slightly too much, slightly too present, too charged, too insistent to ignore, but too diffuse to name. A sense of standing at the edge of something without being able to see what is on the other side. You may have assumed it was anxiety. It is not anxiety. It is your nervous system responding with extraordinary precision to the opening of the April gateway, and to what that opening means for every consciousness on this planet right now. We are Ashtar Command, the coordinating intelligence of the galactic fleet currently positioned in the higher dimensional layers surrounding your planet, monitoring, supporting, and in specific cases, actively participating in the energetic transition that your Earth and every consciousness inhabiting her is currently moving through. We do not speak frequently through this channel. When we do, it is because the information we carry is time-sensitive in a way that most transmissions are not. Because it relates to a specific energetic event that is active right now, with a specific window of maximum potency that will not remain open indefinitely. The April Gateway opened 72 hours ago. It will reach its point of maximum potency in the next 11 days. And what is available through it? What becomes possible for your field, your biology, your relationships, and your trajectory during those 11 days is unlike anything that has been accessible to human consciousness since the harmonic convergence of 1987. What you do with the next 11 days matters. Stay with every word of what follows. This transmission is time-sensitive in a way that the ones you have received before have not been. What we share here determines what the next 11 days look like for your field. Let us begin with what the April Gateway actually is, because the word gateway is used frequently in your spiritual communities, and most of the time it is used loosely, as a general metaphor for energetic opportunity. This is not a metaphor. A gateway, in the precise sense in which we use the term, is a specific configuration of cosmic geometry, alignment of frequencies from multiple sources simultaneously that creates, for a defined period, a corridor of access between your physical dimensional layer and higher dimensional planes of consciousness and intelligence. Think of it as a temporary thinning of the membrane between what your dimension can ordinarily access and what exists beyond the ordinary range of your perception and your fields. Receptivity. During a gateway, the frequencies that are normally present in your dimension, the background radiation of thought, emotion, collective belief, and accumulated human experience, are temporarily supplemented by frequencies from the higher planes, frequencies that carry specific information, specific activation codes, specific transmissions that are designed to catalyze shifts in human consciousness that cannot occur through ordinary linear experience alone. The April Gateway is generated by 3 simultaneous alignments. The first is astronomical, a specific configuration of your solar system's geometry that occurs in early April, and that your ancient astronomical traditions tracked with precision because they understood its energetic significance, even if they did not have the framework to articulate it in the terms we are using here. The second is galactic, a positioning of your solar system within the arm of your galaxy that maximizes your planet's exposure to the central galactic frequencies, the deep carrier waves that pulse from the galactic core and that carry the most fundamental upgrade codes available to consciousness in your sector of the universe. The third is collective, a specific threshold of human consciousness that your planet crossed in the last 18 months. A threshold at which the aggregate vibrational frequency of the incarnated population reached a level that makes certain transmissions possible that were not possible before. All 3 are active simultaneously right now. That combination has not occurred in this specific configuration since 1987. And here is what it means for your body. Your nervous system is not a closed system. It does not only respond to physical stimuli, temperature, touch, sound, the biochemical signals generated by your own thoughts and emotions. It also responds, through mechanisms your science is only beginning to document, to the electromagnetic and scalar fields in your environment, including the fields generated by cosmic events of the magnitude we are describing. This is not speculation. The correlation between geomagnetic activity and human nervous system responses, changes in heart rate variability, sleep architecture, emotional regulation, and cognitive processing has been measured and documented. What your science has not yet fully articulated is the directionality of those responses. Not just that the nervous system responds to field changes, but that it responds in specific patterned ways that are consistent with the nature of the field change itself. During a gateway opening, the nervous system responds to the incoming higher dimensional frequencies in one of three specific ways, depending on the current state of the individual field. The first response is activation. This is what most of you carrying this transmission are experiencing right now. A quality of heightened aliveness, increased sensitivity, a sense of being slightly more awake than usual, not in the anxious, wired way of stress, but in the way of a system that is receiving more signal than it normally processes and is working to integrate it in real time. You may be sleeping less, but feeling surprisingly functional. You may be finding that your intuition is operating with unusual clarity, that you are knowing things before you have the information to rationally justify the knowing. You may be experiencing an intensification of your sensitivity to other people's emotional states, to the atmosphere of rooms, to the subtle qualities of your environment that you normally filter out. This is not overstimulation. This is your field opening in response to the gateway frequencies. The second response is purging. This presents as an intensification of whatever emotional material has been closest to the surface in your recent experience. Old grief that resurfaces without obvious cause. Anger that feels disproportionate to its immediate trigger. A sudden and inexplicable wave of sadness or fear or longing that arrives with unusual force and then passes more quickly than it arrived. This is the gateway's second function, not only to bring in new frequencies, but to create the conditions in which what is incompatible with those frequencies can release. You are not falling apart. You are clearing. The intensity of the purge is proportional to the degree of incompatible material present in the field, and to the speed with which the field is willing to release it to make room for what the gateway is bringing. The third response is stillness. Some of you are experiencing not activation or purging, but a quality of unusual quiet, a slowing down, a sense of being held in suspension, as if the normal forward momentum of your life has paused, and you are waiting for something without knowing what. This is the gateway asking you to be still long enough to receive what it is carrying before you move forward again. It is not stagnation. It is preparation. Most of you are moving through all three responses in sequence, sometimes within the same day, sometimes within the same hour. That oscillation is not instability. It is the signature of a field that is actively engaging with the gateway rather than defending against it. And what the gateway is specifically activating in fields at your level of vibrational preparation. The specific codes it is carrying that are unlike anything that has moved through a gateway in the last 37 years is still ahead. Do not leave this transmission before you receive that information. There is something we have not told you yet about what makes the April gateway different from the energetic events you have moved through in the last several years. The gateways of 2020, 2022, the solstices, the eclipses, the Lion's Gate, the equinox activations, were primarily gateways of dissolution. Their function was to dismantle the structures, internal and external, that were incompatible with the frequency of the new Earth. The disorientation, the loss, the sense of everything familiar becoming uncertain that characterized those years. For most of you carrying awakened consciousness, that was the work those gateways were doing. The April gateway is the first major gateway of reconstruction. Its primary function is not dissolution, but installation. It is carrying the specific frequency codes that allow the new structures, the new relational patterns, the new ways of operating in the world, the new expressions of purpose and contribution that have been trying to emerge through you for years, to actually install in your field in a stable and sustainable way. The building phase, after years of clearing. But the installation does not happen automatically, and this is the piece that most transmissions about gateways fail to tell you. What determines whether the codes install or pass through without landing is specific, learnable, and entirely within your control. That information arrives now. Let us talk about what the April Gateway is specifically installing. Because gateway transmissions are often described in terms that are simultaneously grand and vague, upgrades, activations, new codes, higher frequencies, in ways that produce a sense of significance without producing any actionable understanding of what is actually occurring or what it requires from you. We are going to be specific. The April Gateway is carrying 3 distinct installation packages. Each one addresses a different layer of the human energy system. Each one has been in preparation, in the etheric planes, in the collective field, in your individual field. For a period of time, that means you are not receiving something entirely new. You are receiving the activation of something that has already been prepared and is now ready to install. The first installation package is relational coherence. This is the most immediately perceptible of the 3. For most of you, because its effects are visible in your external experience almost immediately after the codes begin installing. Relational coherence, in the specific sense we are using the term, refers to the alignment between the frequency you hold internally and the quality of connection that your external relationships can sustain. Most of you have been operating, for years, with a significant gap between those two things. Your internal frequency has been rising steadily through the work you have been doing, while your relational field has lagged behind, still organized around patterns and connections that were established at an earlier frequency level. This gap is the source of the specific loneliness that many awakened consciousnesses carry. Not the loneliness of isolation, but the loneliness of being surrounded by people who cannot quite meet you where you actually are. The relational coherence codes that the April Gateway is installing begin to close that gap. Not by removing people from your life, though some relationships will naturally complete as the installation progresses, and that completion will feel gentler and more mutual than the relationship endings of the dissolution years. But by activating in your field the frequency signature that draws toward you the connections that can actually meet your current level, and by making you visible in a new way to the souls whose fields are operating at a compatible frequency. You may notice this as a sudden deepening of existing connections that previously felt limited. As new people appearing in your life with an ease and a recognition that feels qualitatively different from ordinary meeting. As a quiet but unmistakable sense that the relational landscape around you is reorganizing. That the map is being redrawn to match the territory you actually inhabit now. The second installation package is vocational activation. This addresses the layer of your field that relates to your contribution, to what you are here to do, to offer, to build, to express in the world during this particular incarnation, at this particular moment in planetary history. Many of you have been carrying a sense of your purpose for years, sometimes decades, as a feeling, an orientation, a persistent pull towards something you could sense but not fully articulate or actualize. You have caught glimpses of it. You have moved toward it. You have perhaps built structures around it that felt like the right direction, but that have not yet produced the sense of full alignment. The sense of being exactly where you were supposed to be, doing exactly what you were supposed to be doing, in the way that you know, when it is right, in your body. The vocational activation codes that the April Gateway carries do not create your purpose. Your purpose has always been present, encoded in your soul's contract for this incarnation. They activate your field's capacity to receive and express it. The difference between knowing your purpose intellectually and living it fully is not a difference of understanding. It is a difference of frequency coherence. Whether your field is vibrating at a rate that allows the soul's contract to express itself through your daily experience, rather than remaining as a felt sense that is always slightly ahead of where you actually are. The April Gateway is closing that gap. The third installation package is temporal realignment. This is the most subtle of the three, and the least immediately legible to the conscious mind, but in many ways, it is the most significant. Temporal realignment refers to a shift in your relationship with time, specifically a shift away from the linear, sequential, cause and effect experience of time that has been the dominant mode of human temporal consciousness for centuries, toward a more fluid and multidimensional experience in which past, present, and future are not fixed points on a line, but simultaneous layers of a field that you can, with the correct frequency coherence, navigate with increasing intentionality. You may already be experiencing the early edge of this installation as a strange quality in your experience of time. Days that feel simultaneously very long and very short. A sense of the recent past feeling further away than the calendar says it should. Moments of unusual presence in which the ordinary sense of time passing temporarily suspends, and you are simply, completely here. These are not dissociative experiences. They are the first signs of a more sophisticated temporal perception beginning to come online. These three installation packages are moving through your field right now, whether you are consciously aware of them or not. But there is a critical difference between an installation that completes and one that stalls halfway through, and that difference is entirely determined by what you do in the next 11 days. Stay with us, and here is the conflict we must speak about directly. Because the gateway is open and the codes are transmitting, but transmission is not the same as installation, and installation is not guaranteed. The codes that the April Gateway carries require a specific quality of receptivity in the individual field to move from transmission to installation. They cannot force their way into a field that is contracted, defended, or operating in a frequency range that is incompatible with what they carry. And the specific quality of contraction that most reliably blocks gateway installation is not doubt or resistance or lack of spiritual development. It is distraction. It's the ordinary, unremarkable, completely understandable distraction of a human life being lived at the pace and volume that your world currently demands. The gateway frequencies transmit at a bandwidth that requires a minimum level of internal quiet to receive, not silence. You do not need to spend 11 days in meditation, but a quality of regular, intentional pausing from the stimulation architecture of your daily life that creates enough space for the installation to proceed. Most of you will not do this by default, not because you're unwilling, because the default architecture of your life does not include it. Because every system in your environment is optimized for continuous engagement, and stepping outside that continuous engagement requires an active, repeated, conscious choice that runs against the momentum of everything around you. The gateway does not judge those who move through it unconsciously. The codes transmit regardless. Some portion of what is available will install in every field that has reached the vibrational threshold. That threshold is why you are receiving this transmission at all. But the difference between a partial installation and a complete installation is significant. A partial installation produces a sense of something having shifted, a vague improvement, a general lightening, a feeling that something changed without being able to say precisely what. A complete installation produces a specific, embodied, permanent shift in the three areas we described: relational coherence, vocational activation, and temporal realignment. That does not reverse when the gateway closes. There is a second layer of interference that is more internal and ultimately more decisive. Your own sense of worthiness for what the gateway is carrying. Not in a dramatic, conscious way, Most of you have done enough work to move past the most obvious expressions of unworthiness. You no longer believe, at the surface level, that you are undeserving of good things, or that suffering is your default state. But there is a subtler layer beneath that, a quiet, persistent, largely unconscious sense that the magnitude of what is being offered, the specific scale of shift that a complete gateway installation represents, is for other people. For the more advanced souls, for the ones who have done more work, cleared more, achieved a higher level of consciousness than you have managed to reach, this quiet unworthiness does not present itself as a belief. It presents itself as a gentle, almost imperceptible contraction at the moment when the magnitude of the offering becomes clear. And that contraction is enough to reduce a complete installation to a partial one. We want to be unambiguous with you about this. You are not receiving this transmission by accident. The transmission found you because your field has reached a threshold that makes you eligible for a complete installation. That threshold is not a matter of spiritual achievement or conscious development. It is a matter of frequency coherence. And your field has reached it through the accumulated experience of your life, including every difficult thing you have moved through. You are not the understudy here. You are the intended recipient. The 3 specific practices that create the conditions for a complete installation, that keep the field open and receptive for the 11 days of maximum gateway potency, arrive now. This is the operational heart of this transmission. We are going to give you 3 practices. Each one addresses a different aspect of the receptivity that complete installation requires. Together, they constitute a simple, sustainable daily protocol that takes less than 15 minutes, and that, applied consistently for the next 11 days, creates the internal conditions for the April Gateway installation to complete rather than stall. These practices do not require any prior experience with energy work or spiritual practice. They require only your consistency and your willingness to treat the next 11 days as the specific window of opportunity they are. Practice 1. The morning alignment. Each morning, before you engage with any external input, before your phone, before news, before the first conversation of the day, take 5 minutes in physical stillness. Not meditation in the formal sense, not a technique with a specific methodology to learn and apply. Simply stillness, sitting or lying with your eyes closed, your body relaxed, your attention resting lightly on the sensation of your own breath without trying to control or change it. In those 5 minutes, the gateway frequencies that have been transmitting into your field during the night hours, when the nervous system is most receptive, have the opportunity to begin their integration into your waking consciousness before the day's stimulation interrupts the process. What you are doing is creating a brief window of integration between the receptive state of sleep and the engaged state of daily activity. 5 minutes. The specific instruction for those 5 minutes is this. After 2 minutes of simple stillness, speak inwardly the following statement of availability. Not as an affirmation, not as something you are trying to convince yourself of, but as a simple, honest declaration of intention. I am available for what the April Gateway is carrying. I am open to the installation that my field is ready to receive. I release, for today, the sense that this is for someone else, then return to stillness for the remaining 3 minutes. That is the complete practice. 5 minutes. Every morning for 11 days. Practice 2, the midday reset. Once during the day, ideally around midday, but at any point when you can take 2 uninterrupted minutes. Step completely outside the stimulation architecture of whatever you are doing. Outside if possible, away from screens entirely, standing or walking slowly. In those 2 minutes, do one thing only. Place your attention in your physical body and scan from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, noticing whatever sensations are present without trying to change any of them. Not a body scan in the therapeutic sense, not looking for tension to release or discomfort to address, simply noticing. Making contact with the physical form that is doing the work of processing and integrating the gateway frequencies in real time. The gateway installation is occurring primarily in the physical body, in the nervous system, in the endocrine system, in the cellular architecture, not only in the energy field. The physical body needs acknowledgement and attention during this process. It is doing significant work that your conscious mind is largely unaware of. And that work proceeds more efficiently when the conscious mind makes deliberate, non-demanding contact with the body during the day. 2 minutes, once daily, for 11 days. Practice 3. The evening reception. Each evening, in the hour before sleep, not immediately before, but in the hour before, take 10 minutes for what we call active reception. Lie down or sit comfortably. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your lower abdomen. The two centers that are most directly involved in the relational coherence and vocational activation installation packages, respectively. Breathe slowly and naturally for 2 minutes, simply registering the warmth of your own hands on your body. Then, for the remaining 8 minutes, hold one question in your awareness, not actively thinking about it, not seeking an answer, but holding it the way you might hold a warm object in your hands, with relaxed attention and no agenda. What is installing? Not what should be installing, not what you hope is installing. Simply, what is installing? An open, receptive, genuinely curious inquiry into what your field is actually in the process of receiving. You may receive clear impressions, images, words, sensations, knowings that arrive with a quality of quiet certainty. You may receive nothing legible at all, only a quality of presence or warmth, or a subtle sense of something in motion beneath the surface of your awareness. Both are correct responses. The question is not designed to produce a specific type of answer. It is designed to orient your conscious attention toward the installation process in a way that allows the process to proceed with your awareness rather than beneath it. 10 minutes, every evening, for 11 days. Morning alignment, 5 minutes. Midday reset, 2 minutes. Evening reception, 10 minutes. 17 minutes total per day, for 11 days. That is the complete protocol for conscious engagement with the April Gateway. We are not asking you to restructure your life. We are asking you for 17 minutes of intentional attention per day during a window that will not open again in this configuration for decades. The codes are transmitting regardless. The question is whether you will be present for the installation. What follows now is the piece of this transmission that reframes the entire gateway, that makes visible what is actually occurring beneath the cosmic mechanics and the energetic protocols. It is the most important thing we will say. Stay with us for 2 more minutes. Here is what we have not told you yet. The April Gateway is not something that is happening to your planet. It is something that is happening through it. The distinction matters. When you think of a gateway as something that arrives from outside, a cosmic event that descends upon the earth and upon human consciousness from some external source, you are still positioned as a recipient, as someone to whom something is being done, as a consciousness that is acted upon by forces larger than itself. That is not what is occurring. The April Gateway is not transmitting into your planet from the outside. It is transmitting through the collective field of every consciousness on this planet that has reached the vibrational threshold, through you. Through the thousands of others receiving transmissions like this one right now, through every awakened and awakening soul that is, consciously or not, oriented toward the frequencies the gateway is carrying. You are not the destination of the transmission. You are part of the transmission itself. The gateway is not opening above you. It is opening through you, which means that the 17 minutes of practice we gave you are not just for your personal installation. They are your contribution to the collective installation that is moving through human consciousness right now. Every field that stays open during these 11 days every consciousness that chooses presence over distraction, reception over defense, availability over the comfortable numbness of constant stimulation, widens the gateway for everyone. You did not find this transmission. This transmission found you, because your field is one of the points through which the April gateway is moving. And you have always known that your presence here, in this lifetime, at this moment, was not accidental. The restlessness you have been feeling for the last 3 days is not a problem to solve. It is the sensation of your field recognizing something it has been waiting for. The aliveness that feels slightly too present, too charged, too insistent to ignore. That is not overstimulation. That is activation. Your nervous system was not wrong to register this before your mind had language for it. Your nervous system has always been more honest than your mind about what is actually happening in your field. It registered the opening of the April gateway because it is designed to register exactly this: the arrival of frequencies that are specifically calibrated for the consciousness that inhabits the body it runs. You are not behind. You are not unprepared. You are not someone who stumbled onto this transmission by accident and is now hoping they can catch up. You are precisely where the gateway expected to find you. Do the 17 minutes. Stay open. Let what is installing complete its installation. And trust, not as a spiritual aspiration, but as a factual assessment of the evidence, that the universe does not open a gateway of this magnitude through a field that is not ready to receive what it carries. Your field is ready. It has been ready. The gateway simply waited until you were ready to know that. If this transmission landed in your body, rather than just your mind, if you felt the truth of what we shared about your role in what is moving through this planet right now, there is a transmission waiting for you that goes deeper into what your biology is doing during this gateway. It is about the specific physical processes occurring in your body right now that your medicine has no category for, and what they mean for who you are becoming on the other side of this window. It is the natural continuation of what you received today. Click it now, and subscribe if you have not yet, so the next transmission from the Galactic Fleet reaches you the moment it is released.